following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Yeah, let's get going. Sorry for the late start, folks. Welcome to No Credentials Required Victory Monday. Oh, I didn't run the proper intro. My apologies. I need to run the proper intro. So let's get Victory Monday started. Victory Monday on a Friday started properly.
Victory Monday.
That's right, folks. Victory Monday on a Friday is here. Presented by No Credentials Required, Belly Up Sports and Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. Before we continue, I bring in my fellow Jets fan host. Just want to remind you to follow us on social media at Twitter or X, whatever you call it now. Instagram and TikTok. Scarcely use TikTok at NoCredsREQ. Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ. Also on YouTube, it's youtube.com/@NoCredsREQ. If you're watching either live or on replay, just want to remind you to please do me a favor and smash that like button. Smash responsibly. Also want to remind you, if you're listening on the podcast side, to subscribe to the podcast on whichever preferred platform you're on. Don't forget to rate and review. 5 stars is the preferred rating, as my co-host dies behind the scenes. But also, if you leave us a review, we'll even read it on the air. And right now, I'm going to bring in my co-host for Victory Monday. He is South Florida's biggest Jets fan, and also the biggest Florida Panthers fan that I know. My buddy, Dan Goldstein. Dan, how are we doing tonight, buddy?
It is so great to see your beautiful face again, my friend. It's been since like November since we lost 6 straight last year. Yeah. So we didn't get any good Victory Mondays after week 9, 10. I don't remember our last victory. It was 9 or 10.
I think it was week 12 or
was
week 11.
And I think something like that. And whatever it was, it's just it went too long, and then we've gone the whole spring, summer without getting the chance to catch up and talk. So this should be a lot of fun because we got a lot of, there's a couple of things that happened to the New York Jets since the end of last year. So, we've got a show ahead of us.
That's right. Quite a few. We actually also have a special guest, my new buddy, Jim Biringer, who covers the New Jersey Devils for the, I forgot the name of the Full Press NHL. He'll be on with us. He's also a big Jets fan. So he'll be on with us to talk about the Jets. But, Dan, let's get things started proper. Let's talk New York Jets free agency. We got a list of free agents here who were added to the team. We had quite a few departures, which is unfortunate. But, it's the way the NFL is now with free agency, the ebb and flow of free agents coming in, going out. But impressive haul, once again, by one Mr. Joe Douglas, the Thanos of the NFL, pulling off some pretty, I would say, team-friendly deals in this free agency period. So let's talk about what's your impression of this free agency class?
To me, I think the only slight overpay we had in all the free agency was Lazard. I would have liked to see Lazard come in a little bit under double digits, but especially being that he wanted to come to New York, thinking that Aaron was going to come here with how close he was, would have been nice to get him for a little bit cheaper. But beyond that, how can you hate what Joe Douglas did? Putting together put after the draft class that we saw put together last year and how they came about, and then to add the additional pieces that we did in the wide receiver core and on the defensive line and just some more, good quality depth on the O-line. I mean, there's really nothing you can complain about when it comes to what Joe Douglas pulled off this offseason. So, I'm thrilled, to see how they all kind of mesh together once the season starts. I'm thrilled to see how they all come together to, kind of hopefully help us achieve the ultimate goal, which is finally hoist that Lombardi trophy for the first time in most of our lifetimes.
Yeah. I think my dad is one of the only members of my family who remembers the Jets winning the Super Bowl. But I don't remember him. He's saying we watched it. We actually watched the VHS tape. We have the NFL's greatest games and happened to be Super Bowl III. I got it for Christmas one year. We happened to watch it. I'm thinking to myself, man, when's this going to happen? When is this ever going to happen for our team? And it's a very good. I mean, the free agency. I love the Lazard pickup was great. In case, like you said, you didn't want to see Joe Douglas pay double digits to overpay. But if there's going to be one position you're going to overpay, it's wide receiver. You're going to pay a little bit more for a guy like Alan Lazard, who can not only catch passes but also can run block. That's another important factor in this signing, is that he can run block. He's a very good run blocker. Other notable free agencies: Mecole Hardman from the Kansas City, formerly of the Kansas City Chiefs. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings to bring to Gotham, to kind of give the team, a young, hungry team, a reason to keep going, and especially into January and hopefully into February. You bring in Quentin Jefferson and Al Woods for the defensive line. You bring in Wes Schweitzer and Billy Turner to shore up the offensive line. Randall Cobb, who some may say is a little bit past his prime, but he's got familiarity with another person we're going to talk about in just a moment. But he's a reliable third down receiver, unlike a particular number 10 last year who kind of crapped the bed after making an extension, which is too bad, because I really wanted to see how Braxton Berrios would figure into this lineup with Aaron Rodgers. Also, you bring in Adrian Amos, who unfortunately had to replace the traded for Chuck Clark, tore his ACL during OTAs.
Broke my heart to hearing that. I was so excited for Chuck Clark to come in and just kind of be like our third safety, like in the box linebacker kind of guy. He was going to be a perfect fit for what Joe Douglas wants. That was brokenhearted.
Yep. And then he bring in Thomas Morstead to replace Braden Mann, who had a
Thank God.
So much. The thing is, there was so much hope when he was drafted. He had a great rookie season, and then just his career took a downturn.
How do you? You're a punter. You have one job. I don't understand how you do this as a punter. You just have to keep kicking the ball. There should be no reason you go like this. There should be no reason. It should all be ascend, and you kind of plateau until you can't kick it no more, and then your career is over after, 6 to 10 years for most people.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you get worse as a punter. I just don't get it. Like, you forget how to kick. I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, I was hoping for a bounce back season for him, because most of 2021 he was injured. But then 2022 comes along. You figure he's going to make an impact again, and then all of a sudden, just his career takes a nosedive.
I hope he's good at selling insurance, because he's not going to be in the league anymore.
Ugh, it's too bad. But we also can't forget Malik Taylor in a way. I mean, he was an undrafted free agent with the Green Bay Packers. Comes over to the team, had a pretty good catch last night. We'll talk about the Hall of Fame game very briefly in just a few minutes. But yeah, that's free agency class, Dan. I mean, nothing to be mad about.
Not at all. I don't think how are you supposed to be mad about any of that here? I mean, you lose guys like Sheldon Rankins on the D line here, and you put him, you pick up, some seasoned veterans and Quentin Jefferson and Al Woods to kind of help shore up, his loss next to Quentin. And I mean, Al Woods, look at that guy. He's a monster. Look at it. The guy's he's huge. He's massive. He takes up so much space. I mean, how are you supposed to run in the middle between him and Quinnen with C.J. Mosley coming down on the run game? Like, the Jets should definitely be a heck of a lot better against the run for that reason there. And then all the pressure they're going to have from the edge guys and the Quentin Jefferson up the middle and Michael Clemens moving inside and everything like that. I mean, it's going to be the Jets D-line is going to be absolutely disgusting. And I just was both of those guys couldn't have been better fits here. And I love the fact that Al Woods came out. He's finally getting to do something different than just be a 3-4 nose tackle. It's his first time in his career. I think he's 37 or 36, and it's his first time in his career he's getting to play in a 4-3. So all of a sudden, instead of being just a basic nose tackle, he actually gets to do some different things, and and he's already said it's going to be a lot of fun for him. And I just can't wait to kind of see everything happen. And then my favorite pickup actually of the whole offseason, besides Mr. Ayahuasca, was Mecole Hardman. I mean, I think what Mecole Hardman can bring to this offense, and we didn't even talk about the fact that a free agent pickup was Nathaniel Hackett. Goodbye, Mike LaFleur.
Yeah,
absolutely useless. I mean, went from Adam Gase running the offense to Mike LaFleur, and like nothing changed. It was insane. It was insane how pathetic it was watching that. I mean, I didn't think you could do as bad or worse than what Adam Gase did, and somehow Mike LaFleur was able to be just terrible to the point where we had to trade Elijah Moore because he was so sour on this team that we had no choice but to ship him off because he was a locker room cancer because of Mike LaFleur. And I'm sure things were said behind the scenes that couldn't be taken back. And Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas, had to take what they could get, which thank God they did get a pretty decent return ultimately. But I mean, I'd much rather have had, can you imagine a wide receiver core right now of Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, and let's say Allen Lazard doesn't come here, but you still Corey Davis and Mecole Hardman? Mm-hmm. I mean, To me, that's a lot better than what we currently have now. If Elijah Moore just would have shut up, manned up, and just did his thing. I mean, now you could have been playing with Aaron Rodgers in a very friendly offense that he knows better than any offense he's played in for the most part, that's made him an MVP with an offensive coordinator that knows how to get people open.
Not just an MVP, a two-time MVP
right.
Back-to-back.
Two-time MVP, recent two-time MVP as well. So It's just like, that to me was a very sour note, but I mean, I understand why they had to do it. Elijah Moore with what he did last season was just horrible. So, but going back to Mecole Hardman here, I mean, man, the speed and the yak ability that he's going to have in this offense on these short, quick passes that Aaron Rodgers knows how to specialize in because he actually can read a defense pre-snap and know where he wants to go right off bat. And I mean, Mecole Hardman's it's going to be a 3-step drop. Mecole Hardman's going to get 2 yards of separation, hit him over the middle, and Mecole Hardman's just going to 4-2-9 right through the middle of the defense, and it's just going to be amazing to watch. And to me, he was actually my favorite pickup in free agency. And then for only $4 million, $4 million. I mean, steal, bargain, absolute bargain. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch it.
So before we continue with the free agency talk, and actually, honestly, the most important, what I feel is the most important signing that wasn't technically a free agent signing, but still very important. While I bring in our guest from NHL Full Press, he's a New Jersey Devils writer. He's also a big New York Jets fan. We're gonna bring in Jim Biringer. Jim, how are we doing tonight, bud? How was hockey?
Hockey was good. It was good tonight. Hockey was fun tonight.
Look at those banners in the background. I love it.
I mean, you can't even see all of them. I mean, there's too many to name right now.
I know. So Jim, we're talking about this is Dan. Dan.
Hey, what's going on, Dan? What's up?
Dan.
What's up, Jim? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I hear a lot of Jets talk. It's that they seem to be taking over for the Giants right now, and I think I know this is a Jets show, but that's the way the Giants like to operate, just under the radar. Just let them fly under the radar because no one's talking about that Daniel Jones contract right now because everybody knows how bad that is. But we're talking all the time. We're talking about Rodgers. We're talking about the Jets making some noise. Garrett Wilson. You got, Zach Wilson looking good too, So, and I agree with you. Nathaniel Hackett, great pickup by the Jets, by the way. I just like bringing everybody together with Rodgers, the familiarity. Like, this is a very smart play. And the fact, that was the big thing for me coming into this season, right, with the Jets. How much of Rodgers was he going to buy in, right? Like, that's the big thing. Like, we saw how it ended in Green Bay. You just don't know. The fact that he comes out, defends his coordinator, defends the coach with all the BS that's going on with Denver and all that stuff. When these two teams meet, it's going to be spicy.
It's going to be
sure.
It's going to be crazy. But I mean, I understand Nathaniel Hackett did terrible in Denver. It did not work. It's very blatantly obvious. The Denver players just didn't buy into his entire style. It was a failure of epic proportions. But you take away all the head coaching responsibility and let him focus on what he's built his name on, to just be an offensive coordinator that knows how to put together multiple top 10 offenses. He did it in Jacksonville with Blake Bortles, and now he's back doing it again here.
Blake Bortles.
And now he's here with Aaron Rodgers, one of his best buddies, by far the best quarterback he's ever worked with, in the offense that Aaron Rodgers has enjoyed more than probably anyone in his entire tenure in the NFL. And then to bring in his guys in Tim Boyle, who know the offense for the last 3-4 years. Randall Cobb, who's been in Green Bay as long as Aaron Rodgers has. I mean, these guys already know what each other is thinking. He can be a coach. We don't need him on the field. Randall Cobb can play 10 snaps a game. Perfect. Fine. Let him teach all the other guys how to handle the offense, how to run the routes, what to do, what Aaron wants in each individual situation, because there's nothing Cobb hasn't seen, and he can impart all that knowledge on everybody. It was a perfect marriage in between free agency for the Jets and Joe Douglas to be able to fit all those puzzle pieces together in just one offseason, and people are just not understanding it enough. Jets fans certainly understand what he did, and the real football people that actually have dived into the game understand what they did. But the casuals and those people that don't really follow him, and then the dumbest of all Dolphins fans, they just don't get it. They just don't get it. Like, they just they can talk all the crap that they want and whatnot, but the fact of the matter is, Tua sucks. You're not good, and the Jets did everything right this offseason.
And the Dolphins did nothing to help their offensive line, which was one of their weakest points last year.
Nothing.
How do you think Tua got hurt?
I would love to do a whole podcast just talking shit on the Dolphins if you really want to, but I mean, this is a Jets podcast. Maybe we'll save that for another time. Maybe Black Friday. Friday.
Well, hold on, Dan. There's three types of people you don't deal with in this world. Number one, radical political activists on either side. Number two, a woman in labor. Number three, Dolphins fans. You can't rationalize with any of these people.
The downside with me is that I'm surrounded by it. I have no choice. I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Like, I have.
Yeah, you're in the hot spot for Dolphins fans.
You see this, Dan? This is the world's smallest violin playing for
well,
you.
because there's Dolphins fans coming out of the woodwork now because the hurricane sucks. So I mean, that's the biggest problem. Miami just isn't good. If their college football team was actually good and actually winning games like they used to, then I don't know how many Dolphins fans there actually be down in South Florida right now.
There'd be more, just because the Hurricanes and the Dolphins go hand in hand.
Yeah,
so in
that's
actuality,
true.
There'd be more if that's the case. So I'm glad they suck. Let them continue to suck. I just hope the Panthers continue to just dominate in the Eastern Conference here, so that we can pull more people to hockey away from the Dolphins. We get to that another time. We get to that another time. But you brought up. You brought up a great point.
Let's focus on the Jets, guys.
well, he brought up a great point real quick before this goes off the rails. He mentions Elijah Moore, right? And I have a hockey comparison with Alex DeBrincat in Ottawa. He wanted out, and my thing was going. And I talked to a lot of guys up there, and I was like, why can't they make this work? You get another year. Guys come in. They're not used to a system. You still put up decent numbers. Elijah Moore, I'm like, you're getting a new system, new guy. Like, why don't you ride it out for one more year? See what you're getting. Because you knew the Jets were going all in with Rodgers. Like, you just knew that this was – but, all right, whatever. Yeah. So
the ridiculous amount of foreshadowing with Nathaniel Hackett being brought in. But I have to mention another important coach that's being brought in. That's Keith Carter, and he replaces Mr. Becton, John Becton, possibly the worst offensive line coach ever. And you bring in Keith Turner, who is the offensive line coach for the Tennessee Titans that paved the way for one Derrick Henry. He's also the run game coordinator. Now, granted, last night they didn't have the greatest rushing yards, but this is preseason. You got time to work those kinks out.
Preseason.
But I think that's another. I think it's another under. I think it's an under the radar picking another under the radar hiring. Is Keith Carter is going to help your offensive line be better than it has been over the last half decade?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Jets have always been a good running team, but last couple of years, could be a lot better. But during their heyday, Curtis Martin, they were able to run the football, and that's what they're known to do. But with Aaron Rodgers there, and again, the fact that he's mentoring Zach Wilson, something he didn't buy into when he was in Green Bay, because obviously Green Bay decides to draft his replacement, which is never a good thing. You don't want to do that. But the fact that he's buying in, working with Zach Wilson, you saw it last night on the sideline, being a mentor, and he's taking less money because you never know if Dalvin Cook could show up, and and you get your run game going, that's going to open a play action pass up. And I stated when I was on Rob Peterson's show, I think the Jets have a legit shot to make the playoffs this year. Call it what you will, but I really do think they have a shot to make the playoffs this year with the team that they have right now.
They better damn well make the playoffs. I mean, let's be serious. They don't make the playoffs. This season is one of the biggest failures in NFL history. I mean, you can't not make the playoffs and have people keep their jobs. There's no way. I mean, their main goal really should be a home playoff game in some capacity. That's got to be the goal. You can't even get to the playoffs. You should be thinking winning the division with the team that's now been put up here. I mean, you'd miss the playoffs. Either two things happened. Everybody got hurt and the season went off the rails. Very unfortunate. Or B, absolutely everybody that needed to perform completely underperformed, and heads are rolling. Saleh will not be here next year if we miss the playoffs.
Neither will Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas, for that matter.
No.
Yeah, you're right, which would be a shame because I think Joe Douglas has done a very good job. It's just been, the ghost of his 2020 draft is haunting him because there's absolutely nobody there that's putting up anything meaningful at this point.
Yeah. There's 3 players remaining from that draft.
Oof.
And one of them might be on their way out the way he's doing.
A couple of them maybe. Ashton Davis and Mekhi Becton may not be around for very long.
I was thinking Michael Carter because Bam Knight reportedly he's having a great training camp.
Well, he's 21, not 20. He was 21. But still, I mean, it's just, that's the whole thing. It's just, that's just really, it's been unfortunate that he had such a bad 2020, but it was the COVID year. I mean, more people had bad than good. Well, also,
year. Who was it? Look who was his head coach at that time.
It's true. You drafted for Adam Gase. It's why we end up with the Denzel Mims instead of, whoever the hell else could have been available at that point that could have helped us, You hear Mims is running with the first team Lions offense, by the way, in training camp. Did you see that?
I did see that. Yeah.
Isn't that something? I haven't heard any stories about how he's actually doing. About Detroit.
Yeah. I see all these prognostications about Detroit going to NFC Championship game. I'm like, what?
They could. If Goff puts up another season like he did and Amon-Ra St. Brown looks like he does, I don't see what's theoretically truly in their way up in the north right now. But
yeah, the NFC Central might turn out to be the NFC North, excuse me, might turn out to be the NFC Comedy Central if things go kind of terrible between all 4 of those teams. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, but before that, I want to bring in, because this is a live show, and we got viewers and we got people chiming in. Chris Dietz from Fifth Down Sports says, "Wait, you're celebrating the Hall of Fame game? What is happening? We're not celebrating it. We're just going over who impressed us, that kind of thing."
We'll get there. We'll get there. But
we'll get there, Deets. Stay tuned.
We're just happy football's back, man. That's really all it is. I don't care they won or lost. I'm just glad there was something. We got to watch it again.
Yeah. I'd be even happier if a certain former Pittsburgh Steeler didn't crap all over the Albany Empire. So anyway, that's another comment for another day. Brian Snow, Snowman Multimedia. Hey, somebody checking in. Appreciate you. Dietz continues, says, does anyone remember when the Detroit Lions went 4-0 in the preseason? And more importantly, what was their record the regular season?
0-16.
Yep. Dale Krause saying, hey, guys.
What up?
Dietz saying, I want the Jets to do well for my best friend, R.I.P. Gino Naz. I know the kid is watching this team and cursing his way through heaven. He also says, wait, there are Dolphins fans?
There are. Check Twitter. They're the dumbest people on Twitter.
I don't know. Buffalo Sabres fans are up there too.
Oof.
I'm gonna have to take more of your guys' word for it than that. I don't get in much into the hockey Twitter as much as I do the football Twitter. That's for sure. Finkel.
There are some interesting cats out there, and
there's some interesting cats.
Wonka the Saint says Finkel is Einhorn. He also says best guess just go 10-7, while Dietz says 7-10.
All right, you're bad.
I don't know, Dietz.
It's like Jake Asman said, you're getting sent to the Shadow Realm.
That's it, baby.
Shadow Realm. Dietz is also a Cowboys fan. So, all right. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break.
Cowboys fan, that is terrible.
I love it.
Take a quick commercial break for this word from Mahler Brothers Golf. Thanks for joining us, folks. Hey, everyone. It's Ryan from No Credentials Required here to tell you about Mahler Brothers Golf. We all want to look good in the golf course, but it often comes at the expense of feeling good. Mahler Brothers Golf has polos that look good and feel good. With their lightweight and stretchy material that hugs your body, you will feel cool while looking just as cool. Their polos are guaranteed to make you look better, but it's up to you to golf better. On a hot summer's day on the golf course, there's no polo that you would rather wear than Mahler Brothers Golf signature polos. Mahler Brothers Golf has a large catalog of polos with designs for those who want a loud design and others for those who want a subtle and sleek looking design. They also have fun t-shirts, hats, tumblers, and so much more to make your golfing experience better. Head to MahlerBrothers.com. It's MAHLERBROS. Use promo code BELLYUP at checkout for 15% off. That's right, folks. 15% off with promo code BELLYUP at checkout at MahlerBrothers.com. Great golf shirts. I got myself a golf shirt a while ago. Haven't golfed yet. Haven't yet golfed in it, but you know, when I go on the golf course and I play like garbage, at least I'll be looking good. So yes, MahlerBrothers.com. Promo code BELLYUP for 15% off.
I would look great in those shirts while I shoot about a plus 250, and if I tried going golfing on 18 holes.
Well, Dan, in the humidity of Florida, that is Florida weather, at least you'll feel good.
If I didn't melt right on the golf course in about 6 seconds. Walking in the car to the first hole would be filled with swamp ass.
Good to know.
That's
let's talk about the thanks a lot. So let's talk about the impact of the Aaron Rodgers trade. Right before the draft, about a week before the draft happens, what was becoming the worst kept secret in all of sports finally happened with this trade. New York Jets sending a couple draft picks to the Green Bay Packers for Aaron Rodgers. Jim, I want to get your opinion of this. When you first heard about this trade, when you first heard Aaron Rodgers wanted to be a New York Jet on the Pat McAfee show and his desire to play with this team, and then it finally happens, what's your reaction to this trade?
I mean, not surprised. I mean, considering what all the Jets were doing prior to the announcement of this trade, but it was just how it was going to be orchestrated, what was going to come down, who was going where, what were the picks going to be involved. But the fact that the Jets were going to go all in with it, I hear it on Pat McAfee, the way he was talking about the team, the way he bringing a different mentality. And the fact that he's bought all into it, I think is just a sign that this guy's definitely matured as a player. And there were definitely some issues in Green Bay. And the fact that, he's reunited with some players. And then there was a lot of rumors. Oh, he's going to bring this guy in, this guy, long listed demands. It was like you got to weed through all that stuff. But the fact is he's made the Jets better. The Jets are going all in. They want a division championship. And the fact is now a guy like that, it shows that you can control where you want to go in this league, which has always been the case. But to add a player like that only makes the team better, and the young players around it only better.
Yeah, I think part of the reason why he wanted to join this team was when he said during the press conference, they kicked our butts. Jets went to Lambeau Field last year and absolutely laid waste to them. So the seeds were I guess you could say the seeds were kind of growing at that point. But the fact that he wants to join a young and hungry team made the trade even more the better. He wanted to be a part of this team. He saw what the Jets were doing. He saw what Coach Sal is doing with his defense. He saw what Doug Douglas is doing, building the pieces to make this team better. Then they bring in one of his best friends, one of his best buds, Nathaniel Hackett. They bring in Alan Lazard. They bring in Randall Cobb, and you just kind of see the pieces being brought together, and then finally it happens. Dan, I want to get your reaction to this. When you first heard that he wanted to play with the Jets, and then the trade actually happens, what's your reaction, and how does it make this team much better?
Oh God! I mean, he's first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, Super Bowl winning quarterback, recent 2-time MVP wants to come play for the Jets. What are you talking about? No, he doesn't. No one ever wants to come play for the Jets. We have to pay people exorbitant amounts of money to put on our colors because we're terrible.
The Jets tax, yeah.
Because we're terrible. This doesn't happen. This isn't real life. But yet it is. Here we are. And now we all get to continually bask in the glory that is Aaron Rodgers. And it's just been like, I feel like I'm walking on clouds. He can do no wrong. He has done no wrong up until this point. I mean, everything he's done has been as perfect as you could hope for, the way he's dealt with the media, the fans, the things he said, the $35 million pay cut. I mean, that has got to chap Packers fans' asses so bad after doing that for us. It's just, I mean, it's pretty hysterical, honestly, to think about it. But it's just been great. I mean, it's just been absolutely great. I mean, the way he's going to be able to lift everybody and be able to run this offense and help guys put their best foot forwards and be in a position to succeed, not only while he's here, but for the years long past that he's finally done with the Jets. I mean, think about what a guy like Garrett Wilson's going to be able to take away from him with 2 to 3 years of Aaron Rodgers for the rest of his career. I mean, the nuances he's going to be able to put together that he never would have been able to, have done beforehand. It's just going to be spectacular. It's going to be spectacular. Just gotta hope everybody stays healthy. Man.
I agree with that.
I cannot deal with another season that gets completely derailed by injury. I can't do it. It affects my mood, which then in turn affects my wife's mood, which then in turn affects my mood even more. So I can't do it. I got to keep happy wife, happy life, and that means keeping the Jets healthy.
And that means keeping Dan happy by winning games.
Yes,
that's it, man.
You got to win games.
The more Victory Monday podcasts we can do, the happier I'm going to be. Believe me.
Dan made a great point, though. I mean, he says the fact that guys want to play for the Jets now. Think about that. How many guys in recent memory actually want to go play? Say, trade me here. Trade me to New York. Yeah, exactly. Zero. None.
Big old fat zero.
And the fact, and then you get a guy like that. Now you're bringing in Hardman. You get other guys that are like, oh, Rodgers is here? Okay, I want to go play with this dude.
I was saying before you came on, Mecole Hardman was actually probably my favorite pickup of the offseason besides Aaron Rodgers because of what he's going to be able to bring to the offense with Aaron Rodgers' style of quarterback, with his ability to do the 3-step drop, flick of the wrist out, and Hardman's ability to get separation because of his quickness off his breaks. I mean, Hardman, he may not play a ton of snaps because he's, wide receiver 3-4-ish, depending on the package. But the snaps he does play where he's targeted, I mean, he's going to be a beast. He's going to be a beast. Like, Hardman's going to be one of those guys that he may have 40, 50 catches on the year, but those 40, 50 catches could be worth 600, 750 yards. Like, that's just that's the ability he's going to put together. Is just going to be able to do 15 plus yards a catch because his ability
100%.
to snake through and just blow the doors off defenses. I mean, and then having, Breece Hall be back, hopefully healthy and opening up, and then, the potential of Dalvin Cook coming in to kind of have this dominant 1-2 running back punch with, guys like Bam Knight and Izzy in the background waiting. I mean, the O-line, we'll talk a little bit more about this, but the O-line is going to be it's going to be everything for this season, really. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, if they can.
I said last year that was the one position group that could not get injured, suffer any kind of injuries last year. And guess what happens? Mekhi Becton goes down in training camp. Elijah Vera Tucker tears his tricep against Denver.
Let's not forget Dwayne Brown.
Breece Hall.
Dwayne Brown gets hurt 2 weeks into signing him. Dwayne Brown got hurt in the preseason. He played the entire year with a torn labrum. That's what they said. He could have taken his $9 million guaranteed, got surgery, sat out the season, but he wanted to be a warrior and play 17 games. So clearly he couldn't play up to his level, but he was there, and he was better than whatever else you were trotted out. And then Max Mitchell's unfortunate blood clot incident. And then I don't even remember who else was there. They were guys coming that, they hired from like United Healthcare to come in and play like the
it was a mass
position.
unit. It was definitely a mass unit.
Excuse me, sir. I work for Blue Cross Blue Shield. You put respect on our name.
It was definitely a mass unit. I mean, the Jets O-line was just not very good last year at all.
Between injury and John Becton's awful whatever he was doing with that run game coordination and the offensive line being off coach period, his scheme.
You got Elijah Vera Tucker before he goes down in week 7? I think that was week 8. I can't remember what Denver was.
It was week 6 against Denver.
Yeah,
6,
but before week 6, he had already played 4 positions. What is going on? He literally played every position except for center.
Yeah.
By week 6, there is
crazy.
no recipe for success when that's happening. There's no.
No, that's not a good thing.
No, it's not.
It's horrible. It's horrible. Can't have that happen again. And I fully 100 expect Joe Douglas to do a deal coming up to the trade deadline. I believe the Jets will be buyers, as I believe will be quite good coming up to week 8 in the trade deadline. And I imagine that he is going to try and pull a big name from the O-line off a team that's not competing, that's looking to shed some salary cap to come in and be like left tackle.
I think
he'll do it during the bye week because week 7 is the bye week for us, for our team this year, for the Jets.
Yeah,
week 7 is the bye week. He's going to do something that week and pull off some sort of amazing.
He's going to pull somebody like Colton Miller from like the Raiders, or a few other guys where they're getting paid an exorbitant amount of money to be on a terrible team, and the team's just going to go into rebuild mode and try and shed that salary cap space. And I fully believe that's what he's going for. I love Devontae Adams, but I think that the money is going to be more
Devontae Adams ain't leaving.
No, it wouldn't be worth it for the Raiders. So I think it's going to be. I think all that money was really geared towards trying to make a big splash for a dominant O-line player that's going to be available in a rebuilding team that wants to shed the salary cap space.
I agree with that. And again, even if you sign Dalvin Cook, there's still money available to get that offensive lineman.
Tons of money. I don't think Dalvin Cook is going to cost what he thinks he's going to get.
Here's the big question, though, guys. At the end of the day, probably by the end of this week, do you think Dalvin Cook is a Jet?
End of this week? No.
End of this week or before training camp is over?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
because it's down to 2 teams. It's down to 2 teams. From my understanding, it's down to 2 teams. It's the Jets or the Patriots. And he's met with
I was calling the Dolphins too.
I mean, I was hearing that
Dolphins
this morning.
need to be backtracking.
Yeah, I think Dolphins are backtracking.
Dolphins got no
on
cap
him.
space either.
Yeah, they don't really have a lot of cap space. And I think the fact that he's met with the Jets twice, that the unfortunate thing is he didn't come away with a contract yet. So that's kind of there. But I think for some reason, gut feeling says he's a Jet.
Yeah, the Dolphins need to kind of be – the Dolphins have it seems like a very clear line in the sand price that they're willing to pay, which is clearly nowhere near what Dalvin wants. And, they also have a ton of people. They got Jeff Wilson. They got Mostert. They got A-Shane. They got, Myles Gaskin. I mean, they have a bunch of guys that they could easily continue to rotate.
I'm shaking my boots for Myles Gaskin.
Yeah, let me tell you, I'm terrified. But it's still – you put them all together, and it's you have your committee.
Which the Eagles had last year,
Jets
which is the
Eagles
Eagles
the
and the Chiefs, and everybody's got that committee.
Right.
So.
Right. And the Jets, they don't need a committee. I mean, Breece Hall is a stud. It's just they need somebody to help ease him back into play. And then when he's here, you can keep him fresh and not have to bury him with 25 carries a game. You can keep him in the 16 to 18 mark while you keep Dalvin at 10 to 12. And the two of them can just ball out and blow up off one another. Get him for 1 year. Probably, I expect Dalvin to probably sign for somewhere like 1 year. $6 million.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 1 year deal.
4.5 guaranteed, maybe another $1.5 million too in incentives.
He'll take a championship discount.
I'll take the Aaron Rodgers discount.
Too.
Discount double check is coming because of Aaron Rodgers.
Let's go right here. Discount double check. No one can see my waist, but where's the discount double check? Let's go.
All day. It's not the Jets tax anymore. Now it's the Jets discount.
No.
You're going to get crushed by 9.5% sales tax, and then we're going to take even less because of that.
Joe Douglas will give you a contract and say, "Well, sign it or leave. Take it or leave it."
That's it.
So 1 year make
we got Aaron Rodgers. I don't need you. I just want you. I don't need you. So
you're a luxury.
It is a luxury, but it's a good luxury to have because, like you said, it eases Breece Hall into the mix where he's not carrying the ball 20 to 25 times.
It's what we need right now. And then, making the expected playoff push that we hope to be making, hopefully even challenging for the division, come the end of the year, that's when you can start throwing Breece Hall in there, 20 plus carries a game with Dalvin Cook coming in to help spell him every so often. And there's a drop off. Sure. Breece Hall is better than Dalvin Cook, let's be serious. But the drop off isn't severe as going to a guy like Michael Carter or, we still don't really know what Bam Knight truly is. He had a great in the beginning and fell off towards the end when he had some tape on him, and the offensive line just was a mismatch of, randos at that point. So we still don't know what he is. And then Izzy is just, at this point, looks like just a home run hitter. So, if he doesn't hit the home run, he's probably – I doubt Izzy really even plays as much. Izzy will be more of a redshirt guy, I would bet. It wouldn't surprise me to know he's inactive to begin the year. So
yeah.
But it's –
But this is the time. But this is the time to see those guys because it's the preseason and the starters aren't going to get a lot of reps.
This is an evaluation period.
Let them go berserk. Give Izzy 20 carries in a preseason game. Go nuts. Knock yourself out. Get the reps. Understand how the other defenses look at you. Understand how other teams play with you. Understand different line concepts. Figure out the zone running scheme. But come beginning of the season time, you're Dalvin Cook for next year for the Jets. You know what I'm saying? Like you're our hopeful wide receiver to home run hitter to play on the side of Breece Hall for 2024 and beyond. But for this year, just learn the game. Just learn and understand the game. Let the game slow down for you.
Yep. And that's the impact that the Aaron Rodgers effect has. So
it does. Think about it though. Like this whole it's really taken over this area, to be honest. Like where I am, everybody's talking about the Jets. Yes, the Giants are here, and look, Giants got their own issues, but it's hard knocks start next week. Everybody's talking about the Jets. Like Rodgers is constant. Like there's a lot of buzz around this team for the first time in a while. Everybody's like, oh yeah, the Jets are there. But yeah, okay, it's the Jets. Okay, big deal. But now it's like, yeah, they are a big deal. Like they're really a big deal.
Yeah.
You got Rodgers, Lazard, Hackett. I mean, obviously the stuff with Sean Payton to go over back and forth, but the fact is, the team is bought into what Salah's bringing to the table. You saw them last night. They get the Hall of Fame this weekend. Klecko, all those guys are going in. Like, there's a buzz around this team that hasn't been there in a while.
Yeah,
and
you get five primetime games,
right?
And the Black Friday game, which I understand the Jets are. Woody Johnson wants to make it an annual tradition now for the Jets to play on Black Friday.
That's a good. I mean, everybody in the area is going to be home, so why not?
From what I understand, I don't know if it's true or not, but if it's true, then hey, great. I mean, too bad it'll be on Amazon, but
I got no problems with it.
No, I got no problems with it either. I mean, you think about it, right? And like, there was buzz when Rex Ryan was with the Jets and Mark Sanchez coming from USC. By the way, just RIP to the Pac-12. Just want to throw that out there. College football, as you know, it is completely done as it is. But that's a different topic for a different day. But I just want to throw that in there. But you go back to, like, there hasn't really been this kind of buzz around this team in a long time. And good, bad, or indifferent, like, the expectations are here now this season for the Jets to do really well. And I agree with Dan. Like, if they don't live up to those expectations, something's going to happen in the offseason. But I have a feeling this team is going to contend the way it is, and they're going to make a move at the deadline.
I don't want to go through the hiring process of a GM and head coach. I
No.
don't want to do it.
No.
Because I feel like we do have great guys running both those shows. It's just been a very unfortunate. You pick the wrong QB and you've been hit with the injury bug, something horrible. At this point now, we don't have to worry about the QB, and we just gotta pray everybody stays healthy, and that should lead to contract extensions for everybody at the end of this season if it goes the way we hope.
Exactly, and it gives the quarterback that you did pick time to develop and not get thrown into a fire that he wasn't ready for. Now, watching Zach Wilson, and yes, I watched a lot of BYU games because I'm a degenerate college football fan too. He was good.
I thought you were going to admit you were a Mormon, but that's another thing.
No, I am not. No, absolutely not. No.
Screaming Mormons!
No. No. He had good tendencies in college. It just didn't translate to Sunday yet.
No, because he only played one full season as a starter.
Right, exactly. That was his problem. Right. And he needed to have another season as a starter. Having Rodgers there, the way they were working together, yes, I understand it's a preseason game. I know they're playing against guys that'll be bagging groceries in a couple weeks, but it doesn't matter. The fact that the mentorship is there and he's bought into helping Wilson and understanding that this guy's probably going to be the future after I'm done, that's a good sign going forward for the Jets.
I disagree with that. Wilson is not the future of the Jets.
Well, I'm not.
They're not.
I'm not saying
it. But for the time being, having a guy who having Aaron Rodgers there, who was Zach Wilson's idol. Let's not forget that either. Zach Wilson's idol was growing up was Aaron Rodgers, and you want to play just like him. To bring in a veteran guy like that can make a huge difference in the development of a quarterback, and which I know with Zach Wilson, the Jets should have maybe sat him for a season and let him watch the game, see how the speed of the game is in the NFL, and let him develop that way. Now you've got two, I wouldn't say wasted years, but two underachieving years.
Right.
And now you've got 2 more years to be under the helm of his idol to help develop his game and make him a better quarterback. If they do exercise that 5th year option, which a lot of these rookie contracts have, especially in the first round, he could step up into that role. I'm not saying it will.
I'm not saying
it could be. There could be.
There is a 0% chance Zach Wilson is getting his number 2 pick, 5th year option picked up for the Jets. Absolutely 0, which means we have 2 more years of Zach Wilson, and then he moves on to another squad, or he comes back.
Wow, we pick Arch Manning? Come on,
a cheap 1-year deal. We'll get. You know how I am. I'm very much a futurist. I look a year or 2 ahead in the future when it comes to the Jets and football. I guarantee you, with 100% certainty, there will be a quarterback drafted by the New York Jets in the mid-round in the 2024 draft.
Yeah,
Third
100%.
or fourth rounder for sure, because they're going to need somebody to continually challenge Zach in his final year as a Jet, which will be 2024, his fourth year. They'll need somebody to come up behind him, to challenge him, to continually push him, and for actually someone they have more time with to sit behind Aaron Rodgers. I fully expect Rodgers is here for 3 years. I don't think this is a 2-year deal. I think this is a 3-year deal. We have 2 more years of Zach Wilson, and then I think 2 years of a 3rd or 4th round pick kind of a guy to come in and learn from Aaron Rodgers. And then 2026, we're looking at a guy who's been sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for 2 years now, soaking up Jordan Love style, to try and now come in and impart that same, hopefully a higher end level of play from a guy that's not a high pick, because we're probably not going to have the 1st round pick next year.
This is a bold prediction from Dan. I have to play the sound effect. the Rice-Stradamus sound effect for.
I'm telling you right now, man. I'm telling you right now. That's exactly what's going to happen. The Jets are going to draft a quarterback next year to replace Zach Wilson following the 2024 season, to give him 2 years behind Aaron Rodgers, to hopefully be the guy to come in and play for him 2026. Guaranteed.
Yeah,
they have to.
Yeah, I think they will. No doubt. I think that's what teams look for. They look for the future. They see what's going to be out there. Again, I haven't. Let's just say I haven't looked through my Saturday quarterback list to see who's eligible for the draft next year. But that'll be coming soon, because week 0 is right around the corner. But for now, I mean, look, Rodgers, what he brings, like we were saying, Ryan and I were saying, the mentorship right now, you hope Zach Wilson gets it together, because there are tools there. But again, rushed into the league, hurt, not used properly, not ready. Just unfortunate events for him and his development. But you have stability at the 2 big positions, and you can't ask for a better thing right now going into the season.
I fully expect they're going to play Zach Wilson so hard this preseason and next preseason and try and trade him. They're going to try and trade him. They're going to hope that he blows up. They're going to hope that he blows out, starts showing some things, and they get like some mid-round pick for the 2025 draft. I fully expect that's what they attempt to do. Why lose him for nothing when you can hopefully get something for former number 2 overall pick? But hopefully he learns as much as he can behind Aaron Rodgers. But whatever he does take from it, I highly doubt he's going to be able to put together for the Jets. It'll be for somebody else.
Nah, I
like the 49ers.
Don't disagree.
So
yeah. Can we talk about Trey Lance yet being an even bigger bust, arguably, than Zach Wilson at this point, because you went from 12 to 3 to have this? I mean, come on. We stayed at number 2 and picked our guy, and clearly it didn't work. You went from 12 to 3 to get your guy, giving up 3 firsts in the process, and he can't beat out Mr. Irrelevant and Sam Darnold. I think it's time, we start talking a little bit more about Trey Lance.
Well, that was just a bad. That's just a bad play by the 49ers to get a guy that really
one of the few bad moves by John Lynch in his.
That's just a bad move. That's just a bad move to go after a guy that clearly wasn't a Sunday guy. I'm not. That's not a good one.
Either way, and that COVID year killed him too.
Yeah, COVID hurt him, but Garoppolo was still there. Garoppolo was still playing well. 49ers were still a good team, and then they bring in him, and it's just hasn't worked out.
I think it's time he starts getting some of the criticism that Zach Wilson has dealt with. He can't even get on the field. At least Zach got on the field, and we saw he was terrible. 3 years in, you still don't know what the hell he's doing. You just know that he's not doing well in practice. So I think it's time that
and that's not a good thing.
More forward here.
Yeah, he's not progressing the way he should be progressing.
But it could be the Aaron Rodgers effect with him too. All right, we're gonna take another commercial break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the draft the Jets had. So stay tuned.
Spring has sprung, and our friends at Manscaped have the best tools for some spring cleaning. They've already helped you tidy up all the nooks and crannies of your body's basement, but this year Manscaped can help you get the perfect presentation on that beautiful face with the new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Make sure you look your best this spring by using code BELLY20 to get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. So tame your mane with the Beard Hedger Pro Kit. The sun is peeking back out, which means you'll have to show your face in the daylight again. So use the kit to make sure your scruff looks award-winning, whether you have glorious beard flow or some smooth, sleek cheeks. Save 20% off and free shipping with the code BELLY20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code BELLY20 at manscaped.com. Focus on the face and use the Beard Hedger Pro Kit for the cleanest look in the game.
I literally bought the Beard Hedger on Tuesday too. That sucks.
Yeah, the beard. Oh, that does suck, man. But I got a beard hedger. I did get a beard hedger, and yes, it does make your beard.
I haven't even got it yet. Maybe
as you can see.
I haven't got it yet. Maybe I can cancel it all on its way here and just reorder it again for 20% off and support Belly Up Sports at the same time because I paid full
and free shipping.
And free shipping.
Come on, man.
I paid full retail like a schmuck. Damn it.
Like a schmuck.
Like a schmuck.
Cautionary tale, folks. Use that promo code BELLY20 at checkout. You get 20% off and free shipping. Get the Beard Hedger. Get the Lawnmower 4.0. The scrub daddy, the
ball
weed
deodorant.
whacker for your nose hair, the ball deodorant, all that stuff. 20% off. BELLY20 at checkout.
Ball deodorant helps in the South Florida heat.
And sometimes the New York summer too. Gentlemen, the Jets had a pretty good 2023 draft, and the only words I can describe for this particular draft was speed and power. Pretty fair assessment.
I think it came down to 3 letters. RAS. They literally drafted
all
off
athletic
the RAS score. Every single person they drafted, I think, for 1. And I don't even think it was drafted, actually. It might have been UDFAs. Everybody they drafted was like a 9.4 or above. I mean, this was the draft of the RAS. I mean, Joe Douglas literally just looked at positions of need, RAS scores, and said, yep, and yep, we'll do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I gotta say, look, I agree. Looking at the draft picks, I just pulled them up real quick. Will McDonald coming off the edge at Iowa State, one of the best guys I've watched last year. He's such a good player. I mean, the guy they picked up from Wisconsin, Joe Tippmann, he's so good at center. Again, looking at the offensive line and getting big dudes with speed and off the ball. These guys, they're not the sexiest positions. Let's not be honest. We're talking about offensive linemen and guys like that. They're not sexy, but they're off the ball really good. And I agree. I think their draft really good. Solid grade for me. I give B+, A- on the draft. I mean, if we're doing grades like that. But if you look at it, they built and drafted best available and by need. That's the way you have to do it.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Jim has to run. But before we do that, I'm going to let him plug some stuff. So, Jim, go right ahead.
Yeah, guys, thanks for, first off, having me on the show and everything. Check me out at Full Press Coverage. Dropping a lot of college football notes lately, but I'm at Full Press Hockey as well, at Jim Biringer on Twitter. You can follow me along there. I have my own podcast, Full Press NHL podcast as well, but I'm everywhere these days. Anybody who has me on, I can talk anything, football, hockey, it doesn't matter. But guys, thank you so much for having me on. You can, again, like I said, at Jim Biringer on Twitter. Follow my articles on there about hockey, football, whatever. I got a lot of hot takes. And I can't wait to join this program again and talk more football with you guys.
Yeah, definitely come back for every victory Monday for sure.
Absolutely,
bro. Open invitation. Pick whichever ones you want to come to. You're more than welcome.
I appreciate it, fellas. Dan, Ryan, thank you so much for having me on. Gotta grab the grub. I'm starting to get hungry.
Go for it, man.
Be good, brother.
Go for it.
Be good, guys.
Thanks, Jim. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. It's Jim Biringer from NHL Full Press. Huge Jets fan joining us. We're going to continue our conversation about the NFL draft. To be honest, I was actually on the Belly Up draft marathon. Every year, the Belly Up Sports is a draft marathon. Covers all 7 rounds for 3 consecutive days. It's a
Sounds like my
slog.
dream. Would love nothing
Yeah.
more.
It's a slog, but it's enjoyable. And I stopped by for probably a good half hour talking picks, 10 through 15 where the Jets were. And you see what happened with the New England Patriots trading down so Pittsburgh could pick up an offensive lineman because of course. And then you see Joe Douglas pick Will McDonald. And some of us were slightly confused. I was slightly confused myself. I said it was kind of more of a depth pick than anything. But then I saw a raw tape of what Will McDonald can do. And I actually saw some of what he did last night. And man, coming off the edge is going to be a problem for other teams this coming season between Will McDonald, Bryce Huff, and Jermaine Johnson, who's now wearing number 11, folks. Just want to give you a heads up on that. Not wearing number 52 anymore. Now Denzel Mims is gone. He's wearing his number 11 again. That edge position, and with Carl Lawson too. Don't forget Carl Lawson. That edge position is going to be a problem for other teams coming up this season.
It's going to be a nightmare. And I mean, it was crazy to think that they would go and draft in what is considered such a position of strength to already strengthen that up when you had needs on the offensive line and you had needs at, like safety, and you had needs at linebacker, and you had more of a needed interior defensive line. But I understand why they did it. You have probably one more year of Carl Lawson, and then Jermaine Johnson will take his role. And then you'll have Will McDonald coming in to, at that point there, just be a screamer off the edge and, just be able to bend and flex himself around these large, lumbering offensive tackles that just won't be able to get out to the outside quick enough and low enough, especially in a wide 9. I mean, he can go so in a wide 9, you're so far on the outside shoulder of the offensive tackle that they have to be able to take such massive steps to try and get in your way. And with a guy with with such freakish athleticism and bend like McDonald, it's going to be borderline impossible, especially once he understands a little bit more nuance of the game, gets used to the NFL speed, and can continually improve his get off, etc. Think about if Will McDonald can get his get off into the 0.6, 0.7s with his bend and speed, he's going to be a double-digit sack artist all day, because there's just going to be no way offensive tackles will continuously be able to set the edge around him. Let's just hope he can continually grow in the NFL strength and conditioning program, put on probably another, what you hope is probably 15 pounds of muscle, maybe 15 to 20 pounds of muscle without losing his athleticism. And this guy's got, Robert Quinn type upside all over him. I mean, he's got 14, 16, 18 sack potential if he continues to develop and grow his game just because of the athleticism he shows alone. Was he a surprise? Absolutely. I mean, everybody in the world thought we're going wide receiver or offensive tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Jackson Smith. It was Jackson Smith and Jigba or whoever was left over for the tackle position. And but one Jets drive showed that Joe Douglas, while everybody thought that Joe Douglas was left,
spinning,
just losing his marbles and panic picked. We then saw one Jets drive. He was like, Pittsburgh's trading up for that tackle.
Yeah, he knew it was going to happen.
Yeah,
he knew it was going to happen. He knew Belichick was going to screw him somehow.
And you even saw before that, he even started talking about, like, who do you have rated higher, McDonald or this guy? McDonald or Jones? McDonald. Like, he was higher on their board. They were very willing and ready to take Will McDonald above a tackle. So there's no guarantee that even if the Patriots don't move down and they take Jackson Smith and Jigba at 14, that the Jets were going to take Broderick Jones at 15, even if he was there. There was no guarantee. I don't blame Pittsburgh for making the move just to make sure they got him, because the Jets were so desperate for tackle. But from what we learned in the behind the scenes, thanks to the phenomenal team that won Jets Drive, by the way, I mean, huge shout out to them. They're spectacular. It was he wasn't left he wasn't left scrambling, trying to figure out what he wanted to do. It's very clear they had a plan, and they loved this kid right from day one, and it very much seemed like they were going to take him. I mean, I think we all kind of wish that, being that we gave up what we gave up for Aaron Rodgers, that they could have moved down a bit more from 15, because the consensus in the pundits and the experts seemed like Will McDonald was mostly a early to mid second round kind of guy. So maybe it would have been nice if Joe Douglas could have maneuvered the board a little bit more and got down into the 20s, recouped some more mid round picks, and then grabbed him. But it didn't work out that way. You need someone that's willing to move up so you can go down. We don't know how hard he actually worked to try and accomplish that. We'll never know how hard if he tried to do that or not. All we know is he picked Will McDonald, and actually right now it looks like Joe Douglas maybe is smarter than the rest of us, because that kid looks disgusting. He looks disgusting. Let's be serious. You can't teach what he's learned. You can't teach what he has. You can only teach him how to use it more effectively. I mean, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild just what this edge room can become just because of this depth. I mean, you're going to bring this kid in the fourth quarter. I mean, imagine you have Carl Lawson and Jermaine Johnson, Quinton Williamson, Michael Clemens, or Quentin Jefferson, or Al Woods all game long, and then spell them in the third and fourth quarters. Here comes Bryce Huff and Will McDonald.
Yep.
These tackles have been getting their ass kicked for the last 45 minutes of this game, 2+ hours. And now you have to contend with a fresh Bryce Huff and Will McDonald. It's going to be Sack City in the fourth quarter. It's quite brilliant when you think about it. Joe Douglas' strategy is quite brilliant. Is to take guys down in the fourth quarter to keep leads, or to give you more opportunity to gain a lead in case you're down. I mean, the fourth quarter defense of the Jets should honestly almost be the best quarter of defense that they're going to offer all season long.
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty quickly through the draft order for the Jets. So we got Will McDonald as their first overall pick. Joe Tippmann, future center. I love this pick.
Looked so good last night. Good last night. So good. I wish they were giving him more opportunity to actually earn a starting job, and maybe they do after last night's performance, and what he showed and his ability to get to the second level, and maybe he actually does get more opportunity to contend for the starting job right now. Because right now he's center 3 behind Schweitzer and McGovern, but I mean, you can't ignore the performance he put on tape last night. He was impressive.
Then you got Carter Warren, tackle from Pitt, followed by Israel Abanikanda, also from Pitt, who had a pretty impressive game last night. Great touchdown run coming off the edge. Nice. I mean, speedy. He did stuff like this in college too when he was at Pitt. Speeder back. I mean, guy can get out the edge and quick. He's got a quick first step and then a quicker second step from whatever indication I saw last night from the highlights. So I like that pick. It's that Joe Douglas running back pick that he's had over the last 4 drafts. So you can't go wrong with a running back in the. There's 2 or 3 things that go together for Joe Douglas. It's offensive line and running back and defensive tackle of some sort in the draft.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Izzy's just an angle beater. Like, that's literally what it is. Like, you think you're going to have the angle on him, and then you forget he runs a 4.28, and he blows that angle out of the water. And he's going to, he just has to learn more about the game. Like, it's still very obvious he's very raw to a lot of the aspects of what it's going to require to take in this, outside zone scheme that the Jets are going to run. There's still a lot he has to do with his eyes. Like, you can see his vision is still not quite there. His patience is, because he's so fast, he's going to have to work on his patience to kind of dial back a bit to let holes develop, and then be able to, rocket rocket through and use his speed to that effectiveness. Pass protection is going to be a massive, massive undertaking for him because it wasn't something he did very well in college. So he's going to have to do quite a bit in that regard. But I mean, his whole game right now is just work on hitting home runs. Try and just be one cut and go. Like that's all we need you to do right now. We'll let Breece Hall do the hard stuff. We'll let potentially Dalvin Cook do the hard stuff. But when you're there, just work on when it's your time. Just work on finding that little slice and just get upfield. Like just rock it through. But I'm very high on Izzy. You can't teach 4.28 speed. And behind a running game coordinator and an O-line coach by Keith Carter with who has been essential to one of the best of all time in Derrick Henry. It's just going to be there's a lot he needs to learn, but there's a lot of people in place to be able to teach him what he needs to know to make him a massive future asset for this team. So, and Carter Warren, I mean, redshirt rookie year, hopefully, but hopefully he can turn into very good depth or even a surprise mid-range starter. I think that's about his ceiling, is about a league tackle, league average tackle. Hopefully, I think the goal would be to have him play left tackle in a top 12 to 15 type of a player. I mean, who knows? Maybe he surprises us and becomes a stud. But I think the hopeful goal is you can make him about a league average tackle, and you can put him out there while not having a Pro Bowler. You could just have him out there and not at least have to worry about him too much.
Yeah,
so or at the very least, he's just quality depth. Can
Yeah.
never go wrong with young athletic quality depth on the offensive line.
No, absolutely. I mean, if this Becton thing doesn't work out, whether he's traded before the season begins or he doesn't come back as a Jet, and that's one of the big headlines coming into this season, Mekhi Becton not being awarded his 5th-year option on his rookie contract. This is year 4, but he's only played 15 games, and he saw his first action since September 12th, 2021, last night. Performed all right, did pretty well. An edge rusher tried to rush him.
As well as 7 snaps could allow you to play.
Well, he has, but from what I understand, he's been on a quote-unquote pitch count for the during training camp. So he's not getting as many reps as he probably should. Sal has said he's got to learn to trust his legs, and had a pretty rough start to the training camp. But I guess he's been coming along, getting better as he starts to trust his legs a little bit more. But it could be a situation where you see Warren on one side of the ball and Max Mitchell on the other as the other tackle. And I mean, we saw what Max Mitchell could do last year before he unfortunately had that blood clot problem in his legs. But he's another guy who could definitely step up and be part of a future. We could see something rivaling the mid 2000s class, where you have Kevin Mawai at center, you have Jason Fabini at tackle, you got your D'Brickashaw Ferguson, you got these guys who are going to be a foundation of this running game and this pass protection game for years to come.
Yeah, boy, but Max Mitchell did not look good last night, man. Michael Nania put up, a tweet and whatnot, kind of showing, and Mitchell was not looking pretty in some of his reps yesterday. Lots of lunging, lots of reaching, lots of just getting basically the brakes beat off of him, and it was ugly. It was ugly. Did not inspire. His performance yesterday, after watching it more in depth, does not inspire a lot of confidence in Max Mitchell at this point. He's got a lot of work he still needs to do. If that's the product you're putting on the field, you really do hope Becton. I mean, again, we're still early in training camp. I mean, we're only
it's only the first preseason game.
Right, we're only 2 weeks in. There's still 3 more to go. You hope as more reps come on and more time goes on, and Becton gets more work with his knee and challenges it. But you got to think this is probably the new norm for him. I mean, being such a big guy with the knee problems he's had, missing 2 years, there's probably a chance he's never 100% again. So that's like another problem there. It's just like, you would love Becton to live up to his potential and be this massive road grader of a guy protecting Aaron Rodgers, but at the same time, it's just you just never. His knee's just not going to allow him to reach his potential. Is essentially what it's coming down to. Is Mekhi Becton this handicapped version of Mekhi Becton better than the other options the Jets can have, and is it worth the risk to have him out on the field over a guy like a Max Mitchell or a Billy Turner that can at the very least provide chemistry and cohesion along the O-line, even if not the same ceiling? It's a decision Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh are going to have to make, and they can't make it lightly.
Yeah. So looking at the last 3 picks of the draft, you got Zaire Barnes, linebacker from Western Michigan, Jarek Bernard, Converse, defensive back LSU, and Zach Kuntz, tight end for Old Dominion. These seem more like development picks. The linebacker, you need the depth there because Quan Alexander did not come back to the Jets, which is very unfortunate. But you have Zaire Barnes there as kind of a depth/development. Same with Jarek Bernard Converse and Zach Kuntz being added to a tight end room that has the potential to break out between Ty Conklin, CJ Uzuma, Jeremy Ruckert, and now you bring in Zach Kuntz, who is also an athletic freak.
Literally,
this could be the
most athletic tight end that's ever come into the league, alongside like Jelani Woods of last year and like Vernon Davis. Yeah. It's 6'7", 260, running 4.55s. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. With like a broad jumping like 11 feet. I mean, you don't need to teach him anything physical, that's for sure. You just got to teach him everything on actually how to play football as an NFL tight end. So Zach Kuntz is one of those guys where he won't make the 53. There's just, unless they really keep 4 tight ends, but then I don't know where you sacrifice another spot.
I don't know how you fit it
to keep him around there, especially over some of the other guys that are probably can play a bigger, better role than what he can year one. But he's going to be one of those guys where even though he was a 7th round pick and he went picked like 210 or 212, he's the guy where if you drop him on waivers, he probably gets claimed by somebody because he's athletic enough to make somebody else's 53, even if not the Jets. So they have it'll be a very interesting decision. I don't think Zach Kuntz will make it to the practice squad if he gets waived by the Jets at some point in this offseason. So it's like, do you keep him and keep 4 tight ends and sacrifice somebody else somewhere else? Or do you take a chance that's probably less than 50-50 at him clearing waivers and making it to your practice squad? I don't know. I don't know. I know I loved the pick when they made it. I was calling for it in the 6th round, and then they didn't grab him. And then when Bernard Converse's spot came again, I was calling for Kuntz. Didn't happen. So for them to get him in the 7th round, I was thrilled. I was thrilled. How do you not get thrilled on a tight end with a 10 RAS score? That's great. I don't need to put you in the weight room. I don't need to put you in training. You already have the physical down. Now I just got to teach you everything else. That's all teachable shit. I can teach you how to block. I can teach you how to route run. I can teach you how to high point. I can teach you all the nuances you need to know. I can't teach you how to be 6'7" and run a 4.55. You either do that or you can't. You either do it or you can't. And luckily for us, he could do it. Now let's just hope that they can, Ron Middleton can work his rest of his way in. But, I don't know if you watched any of the Buffalo Jet fan videos today, but, he made a good point in that, in Zach Kuntz's snaps from last night, we didn't see anything in the passing game, but what we saw him doing was being a gunner on the punt return teams, which is what the 4th tight end needs to do, is play special teams, and was actually damn good in pass blocking, which was something that he was not good at in college. So he's shown that he's already taken to Ron Middleton's teaching quite a bit and is already starting to learn a lot of the things he needs to learn to try and be a complete tight end. So, hopefully we can see more of him in the actual passing game. as the offseason progresses, we can see him use his size and speed to the advantage to, hit some stuff over the seam and maybe out wide, etc. But right now, it's just very encouraging to see him. Unfortunate for Jarek Bernard Converse that he's hurt and he won't get to play. I don't know. He might be one of those guys, even though he got drafted, he may get waived and thrown to the practice squad. So that's probably what I expect for him right now, is he probably doesn't make the 53 and ends up on the as a practice squad guy. So, and Zaire Barnes, I mean, he looks that dude's got some speed to him for the linebacker core, man. He looks like a special teams dynamo in the making, and maybe could eventually develop by year 3 into a guy that could be a solid linebacker 3. And I'd also like to highlight some of our UDFAs. I mean, we all know the Jason Brownlee story over the last 2 weeks of training camp. I mean, he's been awesome in training camp. But I mean, the guy that really played phenomenal last night, man, Trey Dean, the safety, the strong safety, get out of Florida. That dude was everywhere. In the second half, you saw Trey Dean flying all over that field. That kid looked insane. I mean, we might have 2 UDFAs play their way on the 53 and Brownlee and Trey Dean if they keep going the way they're going.
We got Wanko the Sane tuning in, says, my Seahawks might be on the lookout for an athletic tight end.
Would it? And honest, that's what I mean, man. I mean, there's a lot of teams that could use a guy just like Zach Kuntz. And, it's almost a little unfortunate the Jets are as deep as they are at tight end, because if they don't keep him on the 53, they very well may lose him to another squad. They very may well. Like I said, I probably put it at like 70-30. If you waive him, 70% likely he gets claimed by somebody else, because he's definitely athletic enough and good enough to sit as somebody else's tight end 3 or 4 on a team that may not have as much talent ahead of them as we do in the tight end room.
Well, we're going to take one more quick commercial break. We've kind of gone through the Hall of Fame game a little bit, but we're going to go through our season outlook, and we'll get out of here. So stay tuned. One more commercial break from Belly Up Sports with Canadips.
Hey guys, this is Hector from the Insert Name FC podcast, here to tell you guys about Canadips. It is a great tasting, superior alternative to traditional dip, using CBD in a way that is radical, enjoyable, and effective. It comes in 5 core flavors: wintergreen, mint, citrus, mango, and American spice. Canadips CBD is the new evolution in dip, allowing guys to enjoy great, long-lasting taste without the downsides. If you guys want to go ahead and try them out, use the code BELLYUP20 at CanadipsCBD.com. Once again, BELLYUP20 at CanadipsCBD.com, and you'll get yourself 20% off your purchase. Thank you again for Canadips for being a great partner of Belly Up Sports.
That's right, folks. I don't dip myself, and I don't know if Dan does, but if you are someone who dips, get yourself some Canadips and save 20% with the promo code BELLYUP20.
Hey, if that's your style, that looks like a great product. Ain't gonna be me though, brother.
That's okay. We got some testimonials from my fellow Belly Up Sports contributors, and they swear by it. They love it. Absolutely love it. So,
like I said, it looks like a phenomenal product, but it's just that ain't my style.
That's okay. That's okay. It's not everybody's thing, but you get a discount with the code BELLYUP20 at checkout with CanadipsCBD.com. All right, we kind of touched on the Hall of Fame game a little bit, but I think with our last segment, we'll talk about our season outlook. Look at the schedule. I did a schedule breakdown at BellyUpSports.com of what to expect. This is a tough schedule, but I think this Jets team is built for this particular schedule. It's top heavy. At the bottom, it's not too bad. You got some, got teams like the Texans and the Falcons, who might be a surprise, but you never know. And you got the Browns again. But
we'll spank the Browns in the regular season. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. No. But looking at the schedule, but it seems daunting. But I think this team. I think this team is built, especially with Aaron Rodgers being brought in. You bring in freaks like Will McDonald, and rookies like Will McDonald, who's an absolute freak. You bring in free agents like Alvin Lazard and Mecole Hardman to help the offense, Quentin Jefferson and Al Woods on the defense to help with the run game. My season prediction for this record, I think they'll finish 11-6. They'll definitely beat out some NFC teams. They got the NFC East this year, which is pretty fearsome with the Giants and the Eagles. They get their extra game is the Falcons this year, which should be a good test. I think Atlanta's. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Atlanta for that NFC South division. But there's some good tests down the road for the Jets too. They play Kansas City at home on Sunday night. They play the Raiders on a Sunday night. They play the Chargers on a Sunday night, or Monday night, excuse me. But that's another cool thing too. You get 5 primetime games this year for the New York Jets, which is unheard of. And this is their time to those are the you shine. I play in front of a national audience.
I count Black Friday as a primetime game, so I think that makes it 6 because it's literally the only game on that day. So maybe it's not at night, but it is the only football we get that day, which in turn will make it a primetime game because there ain't nothing else to watch. That's it that day. So that to me will be a primetime game. So I'm counting it as 6, and I fully expect 17-0 to happen. I think Aaron Rodgers and Nate Hackett's offense with Randall Cobb teaching all the guys how to run the routes properly and the chemistry he already has with Allen Lazard and the defense, already a top 4 defense, ascending even further. I don't see a team that's beating us. 17-0, right on our way to 20-0. We're going to knock the Dolphins off their crappy little record of their bullshit 17-0 season from, years past. We're going to take them out of the record books in that regard.
I don't know if you've ever heard my regular co-host Dustin's rant about the 72 Dolphins. He hates that team. He's a Seahawks fan, mind you, but he hates that team. Every year,
I didn't hear that.
You have to see. Oh my gosh! Every year, you see them break out the champagne as soon as the last undefeated team goes down. You've seen them break out the champagne, drinking the champagne, and
it's
like, come on, it's old hat.
God, I would love nothing more than to watch them just shoot that champagne right in their eyes and then choke on the bubbles that come out of the bottle. The despise I have for anything and everything Miami Dolphins truly can't be stated. About as much as I love my daughter and my wife is as much as I hate the Miami Dolphins. Like that's how deep in here it is. That's like literally how deep in here it is. But no,
same for me with the Patriots though, which I had to play this. I had to play a special PSA because the Patriots are based in Boston. I had to play this PSA.
All right, go away.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
I'll make you one for Miami too, so we can constantly play that as well. But no, in all seriousness, you got him at 11-6. I'm putting him in. I think I put him at about 12-5. I'm putting them at 12-5, and I think Buffalo takes a step back, and I do think we win the division at 12-5. I think Buffalo comes in at 11-6. I think Miami comes in around 7-10. I think the Patriots literally come in at like 5-12. I do not think the Patriots are going to be any good this year.
The only way I see the Jets, the only reason, and with the Bills, their offense has no run game. And Josh Allen said in the offseason, I had to learn to play quarterback. I had to be more of a quarterback than I am a runner. Well, when you don't have someone as a feature back, it's going to be a problem, especially with that offense they have, and with the relationship between Diggs and Josh Allen kind of deteriorating in the last part of last season, going into camp this year. especially with Stephon Diggs wanting a contract extension, that might be a problem too. Miami, they can move the ball in the air. They can't do on the ground, and they have no protection for Tua or whoever's playing quarterback back there. Absolutely, would it be Tua or Mike White? Love you, Mike, but you're going down this year. Or Skylar, reach for the Skylar Thompson.
Yeah,
I'm
ready to rip Mike White's head off.
They have no protection, and the Patriots. Talk about a team that's on a that's on a downward trend.
Keep it going.
I mean, Belichick's going to scheme his defense to way he's going to try to keep them in games, but his offense is pop gun. You have, as Jake Asman calls him, love you, Jake, calls Mac Jones a dollar store Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, it's accurate. It's absolutely accurate. It is 100% accurate.
And Mac Jones might not even start this year. It'll probably be Bailey Zappi.
Well, so far from what I've seen right now is that Mac Jones is taking all the first team reps. And it's like not even particularly close.
That won't last.
From what I've read. It's not even particularly close. I've heard Zappi's actually been quite bad. So the magic of Zappi hasn't translated into this offseason. And I heard he's actually been really awful, as a matter of fact. So,
well, the way that Belichick's been going through quarterbacks since Tom Brady left, it's the rotating door. We're
at the very end. We're at the very end of the Bill Belichick era. Thank God. I think they're going to be horrible. I don't think they have an offense that can keep up with others. They're not going to be able to put a lot of points on the board. They'll have a couple of games. I feel like they'll probably have 2 or 3 games where they maybe break 20, and the rest of their games are going to be like 10-16, somewhere in there. They're going to have to contend with
very low scoring.
They're going to contend with an offense that gets 1 touchdown and 2 field goals a game, maybe. You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of what it's going to be for them. So I don't expect them to be very good. I expect the Patriots probably to have a top 10 draft pick next year, and Bill Belichick's probably finally gone with them. They bring in somebody else, and they're going to spend a shit ton of draft capital to move up from probably 7 to 9 all the way into the top 3 to get somebody that's a very high quarterback, so they can get rid of Mac Jones and end that disastrous era for them as well. And I really hope Miami I would love for Miami to never win a game again in my lifetime. I really would. I would absolutely love.
Before we get out of here, Dan, I have to address this because I addressed it on Monday with Snowman in the Morning, talking about this particular coach. Do you have anything to say about Sean Payton's comments about Nathaniel Hackett?
What? How classless can you be?
Take it away.
That's a Dolphins maneuver right there, bro. What? You're not the coach of the Dolphins. That's something a Dolphin would do, just to be that low, that classless, to come after somebody like that in that regard. I mean, we all saw it didn't work with Hackett. We all very much saw, again, as I said earlier in the podcast, they didn't take to his style. They didn't take to his offense. They didn't take to his defense. It just didn't work. That's great. But for you to come out there and say some garbage like that so that you can try and pass the blame off for what is a potentially washed Russell Wilson onto Nathaniel Hackett and try and alleviate yourself, that it was some low shit right there. And we all expected more out of Sean Payton. But then again, this is the same guy that let Bountygate happen underneath his watch. So, at this point, when you start thinking about it, you're really surprised. Are you really surprised? Is Sean Payton really that good? I mean, is Sean Payton really that good? I mean, you had Drew Brees for all those years. Could only put up 1 Super Bowl. Couldn't get any more out of Drew Brees, a legendary, probably top 7 to 10 quarterback of all time. Maybe you couldn't get anything more out of those teams you put together, those offenses you put together. I mean, really, you're just an onside kick. You're just a halftime fake onside kick, or however you want to say it, a halftime onside kick You had one genius play that worked out for you and you won the Super Bowl, basically because of it. That play doesn't happen, or you don't actually catch it. Sean Payton may not have any Super Bowls, and you're not worth a damn in this league, really. So, you need to focus on your own squad. You got plenty of problems that you got to figure out anyways. And to sit here and lay the blame on the guy that's long out of that area and away from that team, there was no need for it. There was no need for it. That was a low classless thing, and I expect that from Miami. I don't expect that from you, Sean Payton. So shame on you. And in week 5, you're going to get an absolute spanking, and you're going to remember the day that you played the New York Jets.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And with that, we'll wrap things up here. Before we go, though, I want to let Dan know, can people find you anywhere on social media, or you just, we'll find you somewhere in Miami?
Yeah, I just kind of I do a few things here on Twitter here and there, but I don't really do too much into it anymore. Really what it is. I just like to I just like to talk shit with Miami fans. Essentially anything that praises Miami, I tell them they're garbage. So, you can probably find me on a lot of Miami things claiming that they're garbage. You'll see, if you see South Florida Jets fan, that's me. And that's me just telling Miami that they're garbage, because they're garbage. Miami's garbage. Basically, everybody that deals with the Dolphins is garbage. The people that park your cars at the stadium, total garbage at it. The people that rip your tickets, slow as can be, absolutely garbage. The food vendors are garbage. The stadium's garbage. The fans are garbage. The ownership's garbage. The players are garbage. It's a garbage organization, and they have zero redeeming qualities. So, yeah, Tua's trash.
You can find us on X, Instagram, and TikTok, and the scarcely used TikTok at NoCredsREQ. Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ. YouTube.com/@NoCredsREQ. If you're listening on the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on your preferred platform. Don't forget to rate and review. 5 stars is the preferred number of stars, although I'm pretty sure there's some Miami fans giving it 2 stars.
But again, just shows how classless they are. It'll just show exactly how classless they are. They will prove my point with it. Any star you see that's less than 5 as a Miami fan, it's just proving my point that they're classless pieces of trash.
And this was Victory Monday from No Credentials Required, presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Gaza Lamia. We'll be here for every Jets victory or, win or loss.
I would like to do it every week, personally. I love Victory Mondays, don't get me wrong. But we do need to go over the losses as well. We need to if we're gonna revel in the great, or if we're gonna celebrate the great, we do need to revel in the misery with it as well. We got to keep
these are facts.
We got to keep the balance.
True. These are facts. For Dan Goldstein, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Thanks for watching or listening, and we'll resume No Credentials Required on the regular on Monday at 8 p.m. where we're doing another movie review as we've been doing throughout the summer, but leading up to football season, which starts on September the 7th. But for Dan Goldstein, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Dolphins are trash.
Victory Monday!